I'm Jett Beachum.
And I'm Sarah Merrifield.
And we are here at the Star following Wednesday night's news that head coach Mike McCarthy is returning for a fifth season. It was his end-of-the-year availability for his fourth season. McCarthy obviously happy to be back for one more year.
Absolutely. And after his conversation with Jerry Jones a little earlier this week, obviously all the topics were covered, both business and then personal, but a lot of speculation coming into this press conference about Mike McCarthy's return, both the pros and the cons. But the one overwhelming sense of emotion that we got out of this press conference was the fact that those emotions are still very raw from that NFC wildcard game against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, they spoke for over 3 hours, is what McCarthy said, with Jerry Jones, talking about everything that happened from the season to his plan going forward when it comes to players, to coaches, to what went wrong in that game. Obviously, I think everyone shocked. Jerry himself, kind of beside himself, and I think it goes to be said for all the players and the coaches as well. They just kind of don't know what happened. Again, the Cowboys were really heavy favorites going into that game. The stars felt that it aligned in that game, and things just unfortunately went wrong.
And I think one of the things, too, that we got a sense of from both Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, and the players was the fact that they really felt like this group was the one to really go far in the playoffs. And again, shock, all of the disappointment, all those emotions were really surfaced after Sunday. But again, still to this day, the disappointment factor, both to the fans because this team knows that they deserve a championship, but also to each other because they feel like they let each other down a little bit, not being able to go further. But you got a chance to talk to some media members here at the Star. What was some of the conversation and the reaction that they had to this conference?
Yeah, everyone was pretty much on the same boat. The longer this went, obviously, with after the game from Monday to Tuesday to then Wednesday when the news came down, the longer it went, the more they felt that Mike McCarthy was going to come back. It seemed to be the consensus. And they did feel that, again, the 3 straight 12-5 seasons, obviously the progression that Dak Prescott going from leading the NFL in interceptions one season to Mike McCarthy taking over play calling duties and then leading the NFL in touchdown passes. That progression that we saw that year, really showed some growth, some progress, at least in that offense, and showed, Mike McCarthy, what he's been doing is working. Unfortunately, it hasn't progressed and transitioned and translated into playoff wins, and that's what needs to happen next year.
And I think one of the things that Jerry Jones' statement mentioned is the fact that having Mike McCarthy return for this year because they feel like they're so close, they're on the cusp of that groundbreaking team. Jerry feels more confident going into next season with Mike McCarthy at the helm because all of that process is still in place. So next year will be very telling, but I think the main thing is that change needs to happen in this offseason for this team to really take that next step over that threshold. And
Mike McCarthy was very confident. Asked over and over again, he was confident in what he can do as a coach. He was more worried about his family than anything is really what he was worried about. He's confident in what he can do. He believes they have a championship team. They just haven't become a world championship team yet. Again, it's going to come with player acquisition, what they do with contracts. What will become of Dan Quinn? Will he return to the team? There are a lot of questions, obviously, that come of this offseason, but we know Dak will almost, in all likelihood, he will be back. He's still on contract. Mike McCarthy's going to be back. Will we see the same offense? Will it be able to progress? But again, talking to the media members again, everyone's pretty much in agreement. They've got to get over this divisional hump. Again, the Cowboys not only they won a Super Bowl since 1995, they haven't even gone to an NFC championship game. The Cowboys have to get into an NFC championship game, and that's what's got to be shown. So it's not just about winning 12 games again. It's not just about getting into the playoffs. You've got to become one of the final 4 teams in the NFL.
And the fact that they're going into this offseason, hopefully removing the emotion in order to find clarity to evaluate what needs to change, that's going to be the biggest key going into next season. And, as Jerry Jones mentioned in his statement again, the fact that it wasn't just Mike McCarthy's fault for Sunday. It was the front office, the players, the coaching staff. Everyone was included in that loss. So for us to single out one person is probably not fair. And for Mike McCarthy, he, again, feels very confident going into next season with this group of guys because he really does feel like they have what it takes.
Yeah, and I think the players are confident too. And clearly even Dak Prescott at the podium after the game said, even if you're blaming Mike McCarthy or his job's on the line, then mine should be on the line too. Yeah. And again, Jake Ferguson, he tweeted out the mini-men, a gif of McCarthy wearing the Cowboy chain with the mini-men, obviously with the appendectomy that he went through. That was kind of the story of the day. They wanted him back, and it seems like this was the way to go. The more things went on, I think Cowboys players are happy. I know maybe fans aren't so much because they're sick and tired of things being the same, but this just seems like what's good for everybody.
Absolutely. They're ready to buy in, and I think this last year will be very telling for Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.